What's up, everybody, and welcome into the newest episode of Crunch Time with Kruck. Your host, Jacob Krukenberg, as always, joined in the booth with Mad Max, Max Williams. How you doing?
Doing great, Kruck. How you doing?
Absolutely. Well, I guess I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of a somber day. The Eagles ended up losing to Indiana Wesleyan in the first round of the NAIA playoffs, which we're both on that team, and it's a different feeling. As a senior, I just played my last college football game, and I don't really know how to feel if you catch my drift.
No, because it's your last game, right? You don't know football. You've been doing it all your 4 years, and I bet there's been hardships, right? Hardships, ups and downs, but hey, it's a tough one. But obviously, our team hopefully learned from that experience. We can move on, and it's a good team we lost to, only losing by 7 points. That a team scored 70 or 60 in a game, so. Think about it in that perspective. I'm actually proud of our team and how we did, and hopefully we'll see what happens next year.
Absolutely. Well, to transition from a sad topic into a more heated topic, let's move into NFL football right away. Max, the Eagles are 9-1 right now. They ended up losing, I believe it was 2 weeks ago.
Last week to the Commanders, yep.
They lost last week to the Commanders. Who would have ever predicted that upset?
Not me. I mean, I was not predicting that at all. I think the Eagles, it just shows that you can never take any team for granted, right? I mean, the Commanders were a team that right now they're coming hot, right under Taylor Heineke and how he's playing, leading that team. And I think it's very good, obviously, for the Eagles to lose a game, in my opinion, because going undefeated is hard in anything you do. And I think for a team like the Eagles, they've learned from that experience and almost lost a tough one yesterday to the Colts. And obviously, they found a way to win that game in a close game. So I think obviously for the Eagles it's a long season, especially in that division. You can't sleep on how the Cowboys are going to play, especially yesterday. I mean, the Cowboys yesterday looked good, Kruck, and great in both phases of the ball. Offense led under Dak Prescott. Tony Pollard, Kruck, had 2 touchdowns in receiving. Usually you hear him as a running back with 2 touchdowns receiving. And just the team in general looked good for the Cowboys as a whole.
I mean, absolutely. And then, looking at the Eagles at number 1, the Chiefs at 2, Vikings are at number 3, and then 4 and 5 are Miami and Tennessee. Which one of those teams is really like a shock to you, if you will? Like, which one of those teams did you not even expect to be near the top 5?
I would probably say Miami out of that list. I mean, Miami was a team that was kind of on and off. I thought they'd be better this season. Obviously, I mentioned before when you have Tua trying to upgrade, having those receivers, especially in Tyreek Hill, I thought it'd be a big boost for their team, but not as good being in top of the lead, tied with the Bills right now at 7-3. But the Vikings are another surprise too. I think the Vikings, and who would have thought the Packers, right? A team that was supposed to be everyone's choice to probably win the North, are down at 4-7. The Vikings are leading that division. Obviously, not their game they wanted yesterday, like I mentioned with the Cowboys, but I think they're still a team you can't sleep on. And all these leagues right now, both the East divisions, I'm just going to mention this real quick. Both in the East, the Dolphins are 7-3, Bills are 7-3. The Jets, obviously, right now are 6-4 with the Patriots. Obviously, that game going to a punt return touchdown yesterday with the Patriots winning. I think that whole division is going to go up in the air. The Jets, to me, though, right now, Kruck, are falling off, in my opinion. I mean, yesterday, Zach Wilson, that was one of his worst performances I've saw in a while. I think, he just did not look like himself, and that's not, if you're the Jets, you're a team that wants to rebuild and everything. That's obviously not the way you want to go, especially our team now that looks like they could have a shot in the playoffs. And so having a loss like that to a New England team that's in your division is not always great. And I think the NFC East is really tough with the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants. Big Thanksgiving games. Keep an eye on the Cowboys-Giants, right? That'll be a good game to keep an eye on. I think that'll be a close one between both two teams. And the Eagles right now are 9-1, so I think both of the East divisions, Kruck, are right now leading in both categories. Who would have thought?
Absolutely. The team that I thought was a shocker was the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
And being a Bears fan, we play them 2 times a year. We're in their division, watching them grow, watching them play. And, I mean, they show really minor successes here and there. Like, they made a play here. They made a play here. Okay, maybe they put a good series, a good drive. This year, they're just putting together good games. Yeah. I mean, right now, yes, they did just drop their second game of the season, but 8-2 as a team that I don't think anybody had on their, Super Bowl watch list. Oh, no. That's insane to me. So they're a crazy team to watch. And then also like Tennessee, when you think of Tennessee Titans, you think of Derrick Henry.
Mhm.
You don't think of Ryan Tannehill. Well, Tannehill's balling out this season. I mean, Derrick Henry's still producing yards, but it's not MVP producing yards. It's just a solid running back, a
Yeah.
top-tier running back producing yards. So, I mean, you have that, and you make your way down the list at the 6th spot. You got Baltimore. I mean, honestly, Baltimore is being carried by Lamar Jackson. And everybody, when he first came into the league, was hating on him because is he a running back? Is he a quarterback?
Wide
What is he?
receiver, yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't matter what he identifies as now. Like, he is the star of the show. That's all it needs to be. A little bit further down at the 7th spot, you got Buffalo. And who would have thought Buffalo would be at 7? Especially coming off of last year. You thought Buffalo was going to be 1 or 2 the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Buffalo, I thought if they would have had the number 1 seed, it would be horrible for teams in the AFC because obviously you're playing in those frigid temperatures. If you're like, say, a team like Miami and a team like what else is in the West? Say the Chiefs, for example, they don't want to go to Buffalo. I mean, obviously the Chiefs are probably used to that type of weather, kind of still more than Miami is, but hey, no one wants to travel out to Buffalo in those type of weather conditions. I mean, the Titans, speaking of it, yes, I agree with you. I think coming off the injury with Tannehill, remember, he was injured for a period of time. Malik Willis was in. He's kind of got back to the level Ryan Tannehill should be at. Now, obviously, we got to see about Ryan Tannehill as he gets towards the playoffs, how he will lead it, because obviously, when playoffs are a different animal. So we got to see about the Titans, because right now the Chiefs and Titans, right now we can just lock about their winning their divisions. I mean, yesterday, the Chiefs-Chargers game, I thought was huge for the Chargers. Absolutely huge. They had to win that game. And now they're in a situation where they're 5-5, Kruck, and now they're fighting hopefully just to get in a wild card spot at this point because the Chiefs are already a 3-game lead in that kind of division. I think looking at it though, the Bengals are still there, and I'll still say this: they are 6-4. Yes, my team Cincinnati, they've been on and off the entire year. I think with Joe Burrow keeps playing with confidence and swagger like he does, I think that'll help the team. The defense has got to get better though. I think allowing 30 points to Pittsburgh is not that great. Obviously, I mean, especially against Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett is good, but is he that level yet at where he at? Not necessarily. So I think the Bengals are still there. Keep an eye on. And then for the NFC real quick, I'm going to mention the 49ers. You cannot sleep on the 49ers. I mean, they're a team with Christian McCaffrey and that defense. They're right there at 5-4. And they're going to be a team you just can't sleep on in the whole NFC West. So that's for what I got there, Crook. Any other thoughts?
I mean, I'm just looking at the points per game. The Chiefs have 300 points per game. Or pardon me, the Chiefs have put up 300 points. The Buffalo Bills have put up 281, and then the Bengals have put up 265. They're the number 3 team in scoring in the NFL. So the fact that they're 6-4, you got to start questioning the defense. I mean, you're scoring at a ridiculous rate. It's not an impossible thing to really mention, but honestly, like looking at it, like you talked about your team, I'll talk about my team. The Bears are in the top 50% when it comes to offensive scoring, and then when it comes to allowing points, we're also in like the top 10. I mean, the Bears they've put up 241 points in the season, but they've given up 274. It's just not working.
And what I'll say about this with the Bears, the Bears have always been close in the past couple of their games, right? They've always had a chance into the fourth quarter, and they just can't find a way to close it out and get the dub. And I think if the Bears would find a way to win those like past 3 or 4 games, they would be probably above 500 in their division. I mean, that's probably what I think. So, obviously, though, I mean, when you look at both the Bengals, too, they got to get defense help for sure, especially against a team like the Ravens and the Chiefs. They're going to have too much firepower. How will they keep up with them? And looking at it, I still will say who will win the AFC North real quick will probably be the Ravens. Because the Ravens have a way easier schedule than the Bengals do. They have to play the Jaguars, still play the Steelers and other teams, while the Bengals have to play still the Titans, the Chiefs coming up. They got to play the Bills, the Bucks, which are starting to come along. So that's still a tougher schedule for Cincinnati. So we'll have to see how they finish off the season here, Kruck.
So then, one final question about the NFL. If the Bucks can somehow luck their way into a wild card seed, do you think Brady still has enough luck or magic to pull out another ring?
Depends on who they play. I think, personally, I don't think he does. Because I think looking at the weapons that he has, they're not like they're the most in sync as they usually are, right? Usually you see Brady with Gronkowski and Evans and all of them, they're very good in sync, and overall, just the entire season, they just haven't been all together, in my opinion. I think also their defense hasn't been always that great either, so that's another thing to keep in mind with Tampa Bay. So, fortunately, Kruck, I say it might be a one-round exit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
If they do make the wild card, that would be my prediction too. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy. Transitioning into college football, not going to touch the sore subject of the Eagles game. We're just going to go straight into NCAA. Georgia's still number one. Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, and USC round out the top 5. And then 6 through 10 are LSU, Clemson, Bama, Tennessee, and Oregon. Max, which one of these teams do you think is going to make it to the national championship against Georgia?
Well, right now, I think looking at it, you're going to have, for a couple teams, Ohio State, Michigan, right there. Whoever loses that game, right, is going to be a team that exits out of that. So right there, that already tells you that's already a team out of the situation. If I were a team to be scared of, and if you're a team that, especially with Tennessee, who would have thought, first of all, Tennessee would have lost to South Carolina that bad? And I'll say this about Tennessee real quick. I mean, I had real hopes for Tennessee beginning of the year. I thought Tennessee would be a good team, and Hendon Hooker looked like it. Obviously, just hearing he just had an ACL injury, tore his ACL. He is done for the rest of the season. And so, but still, South Carolina, the first game, Krupp, only scored 7 points. And now they scored 63 against Tennessee. And that tells you right there, that's not good. I mean, that's not good. Spencer Rattler, yes, he played at Oklahoma. He's got a lot of stats. But for them now, a team like USC you can't sleep on. USC now is a team that has a big shot to make it in the playoff because they helped with Tennessee losing. And I think right here, after that game against UCLA, now granted, their defense needs a lot of help, obviously allowing 45 points, but Caleb Williams can ball. He threw for 470 yards, and Jordan Addison, if you don't remember him, he was at Pittsburgh, Blintikoff winner, and then he transferred over to USC. He, in that game, had 11 receptions, 178 yards receiving. And so, for USC, they have Notre Dame coming up, a team that is now still ranked in the top 25. You have the Pac-12 championship, which most likely will be Oregon. I believe they'll probably get there out of the north. I think USC is a team you can't sleep on. And again, Ohio State, Michigan probably will give Georgia a challenge. Whoever wins that game, I think Ohio State probably has the more better weapons, I think, than Michigan does, because Michigan has the running game. But without Blake Corum, which could be a game-time decision for Michigan, I think Ohio State has a good advantage in the game with the weapons, even though who knows where Mine Williams, Dragon Henderson are. So I think probably, Kruck, if I had to answer the question, Ohio State, Michigan, or USC, those 3 teams, I would say would be a good challenge for Georgia at this moment.
I mean, 100%. You didn't say TCU, and I firmly believe it. I don't think TCU is all that they're hyped up to be. I think they're a little inflated.
I learned when they played against Baylor, right, and they somehow won that game 29-28. I was like, bro, they can't keep doing that every time and beat Georgia, because Georgia, the thing about Georgia is their defense is what makes their team. Granted, against Kentucky, right, they didn't play their best kind of game, but listen, Georgia, when they need to come and play, they come to play. And so that's what the thing about Georgia is. That's why I still think they're the number 1 team.
Absolutely. And then looking at the, you talked about the Ohio State-Michigan matchup. I think that is going to be an absolutely fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you folks at home who don't know, Max and I actually have a little bit of a wager going on for it. I don't like Ohio State, and he's an Ohio State fan. So we made a wager that it is 100 push-ups depending upon who loses. If Michigan loses, I have to do 100 push-ups. If Ohio State loses, Max has to do 100 push-ups. Not continuous, but just at some point you have to do a total of 100. And, I'm honestly, I don't
confident?
I don't think I'm going to have to do a single push-up this weekend.
You feel really confident, huh?
I'm feeling really good.
Well, Kruck, I think what will change your opinion is the game time decision of their running back for Michigan. And I'm being serious, right? Because Blake Corum, and what makes Michigan's offense, right, is him. I think J.J. McCarthy is a good quarterback, and their team is good. But I think what makes them as a team is him. Ohio State, what I'm scared of is if they can come to play from the get-go. I think sometimes they start slow and they let their opponents get close up to them. And a team like Michigan, that can't happen. Michigan will take advantage of those opportunities. But playing at home, I do give Ohio State the chance. So maybe I won't have to do a single push-up this week. And I'll have to see you if you go.
Maybe. What's a team outside of the top 10 that you personally just enjoy watching? Like when you watch them play, it seems like
Yeah.
they should be higher ranked than they really are.
Mhm.
What's one of those teams for you?
I mean, I kind of in the past couple weeks have liked Washington a lot, and I say Washington because Washington just beat Oregon, and Michael Penix Jr., if you didn't know, transferred from Indiana, and he's now at Washington. He's kind of made that offense a high-powered team, and obviously everyone was talking about Oregon, right, at the top five, getting a chance to get in. They're not there anymore, and so I like how they play, and I like how their head coach is. So Washington's a good team. Probably one more team for me that I would pick, and I'm going to say Tulane. How about Tulane, the Green Wave? I really like Tulane in the American Conference. I mean, they have a great quarterback, Michael Pratt, and he plays very well, and they have a good team. And think about it this way. If you're a group of five team, Cincinnati, Tulane, you have a chance to get into one of those big bowls, into the New Year's Six Bowl. So Tulane has a big opportunity to get, say, maybe to whatever bowl they have in the New Year's Six. So I like Tulane a lot, though, Kruck, probably outside of the top 10. What about you?
One of my favorites is definitely Kansas State. Watching them play, they do have explosive plays, but
Right.
they're more of a slow, methodical offense, keeping things under their control, not throwing a ton of shot balls, just playing smart. And then also their defense is just really good on some occasions. I mean, yeah, they're 8-3. They obviously dropped 3 games, but I mean, the games that
They
they're
play
not
hard.
dropping,
They
they
play
are
hard.
playing hard. And then another team just missed the 10 spot is Penn State. I've always been a fan of Penn State. Growing up, I was a Wisconsin Badgers fan, but my dad was also a Penn State fan. So I have some of that Penn State blood in me. I think they're a really good team. They always produce good linemen, good running backs, and their defense isn't half bad either.
Yeah.
So I think they're a pretty solid team. Definitely going to make a bowl game, but they're not going to be making the college playoffs.
Their 2 losses were Ohio State and Michigan. And, I mean, Nick Singleton, I like how he plays. Like you said, Saquon Barkley's come out of there. Nick Singleton's now in that situation. I think it's going to be very good to see Penn State where they go in the bowl game. Obviously, these teams that are not in the playoff ranks, they always just got to find a way with pride. I mean, we talk about quickly just Alabama, right? Every year we talk about Alabama being in the playoff, right? Now it's different for them, right? And they're 9-2. They're probably most likely not getting the playoff situation. How is their team going to focus for the next couple games, especially against Auburn? Still, you're playing the Iron Bowl. I don't care if it's anything or whatever. The Iron Bowl is still one of the most tough rivalries out in college football.
So now let me ask you something, Max. You just got recruited to Alabama, and you won a national championship. Was it last year, 2 years ago? When's the last time Roll Tide won it?
I believe it was 2 years ago. They didn't win last year. Georgia won.
So you won the Natty 2 years ago. You're coming into your sophomore year. You lose it to Georgia. Okay, now you're a junior. Do you take it slow, take it easy, or just like, oh, we just have to throw our helmet out there and people are going to be afraid of us? Like, we're Alabama. People are going to be scared of us. Or do you think these players actually, like, put forth maximum effort, maximum energy on a daily basis?
I think it's from the standard of the team. I think the standard of the team, and obviously knowing from Nick Saban, right? I think knowing him, he probably won't allow his players to be complacent about stuff. And I think that's going to be important. I've always been a person of no matter what the record is, you still got to play hard. And so I think the same way with Alabama and their culture and everything. I mean, it's just different for them, I think. I think it's different for them because they don't know, obviously, what their situation is going to be like. They'll probably still go to a big bowl game because they're Alabama. But, I think personally they're going to be fine. I think, obviously, they'll be focused as a team. I mean, you still got Bryce Young. That should have been the Heisman Trophy winner on your team. And, he's still a great quarterback and still could possibly be one of the top quarterbacks picked in this coming draft. So I think, obviously, for Alabama, it's still a focus year. Get your team right and everything.
All right, and now we're going to move into our fantasy draft. We try to have a fun fantasy draft for all of you folks at home. This week, we are doing a fantasy draft of 5 basketball players, but the basketball players have to be actors. So let me rephrase it for those at home who misunderstood. The 5 people we're picking are actors or actresses who have never played a professional sport, but they're going to assemble into our basketball team and we're going to do a fantasy draft like that. So, Max, I let you go first last time. I'm going to take the first pick this time, and I'm taking Adam Sandler at my point guard. Everybody's seen the videos of him at the YMCA or at, the gym. He is a facilitator first and foremost. He has a nice jump shot. His layup's a little iffy, but, the guy passes the rock like John Stockton. He is a great passer.
Yeah, you kind of took one of mine there. Adam Sandler was going to be on my list, so nice job there, Kruck. But I guess I will take, for my first pick, Mark Wahlberg. I'll pick Mark Wahlberg as mine. Mark Wahlberg, listen, he is, I'll put him as shooting guard here. I think usually he's got skills. He can play a lot of different sports. He's got speed and agility. And I think that will be very good for my team, right? Because obviously, for my team, I want to have people that can shoot and that can have good offense. And I think that's going to be very important. I think Mark Wahlberg can provide that for him.
Absolutely. Man.
Yeah, this is very tough.
Looking at the rest of my team, shoot. I
think we came prepared with this list, but now we're coming up, we're like,
you'd think so, but you know what? I'm going to take my power forward. She was on the famous TV show Mike and Molly. Give me Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy just looks like the kind of person who could be a low post presence, just in the way, ready to take charges, ready to swat at balls, grab rebounds. She is going to be like my Dennis Rodman. That is what I'm expecting out of her.
All right, so you pick the female actress on mine. I'm going to pick my female actress, and this is going to be an interesting one. I'm picking Cameron Diaz as mine. Now, put her at power forward right there. This one's an interesting one, right? She came in, she has a very good height for my team. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted someone that's got height, that can play, and has athleticism. And guess what? She's getting herself in shape, right? She's looking in shape. I saw a story that, yes, beforehand she didn't have the best of, obviously, information with getting in shape. Now she's really good in shape overall. She's included in my lineup, group.
Absolutely. For my small forward, I'm going to go to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Give me Chris Helmsworth. Chris Helmsworth, just look at the guy. He's a mountain of muscle.
Yeah.
He's got to be good at sports somehow. Standing at, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"? The guy's a giant. If he can just dribble it a little bit, he's going to go up there and rim run the whole game.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, that's a good pick. I didn't even think about that one. Let's see. That is a good pick. All right, how about I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to keep it. I didn't think about this guy, but I'm just looking as we go. Because like I said, I think I came prepared, but not totally prepared. I'm going to pick Chris Pratt on my team. Chris Pratt. And I'm going to put me at the center position. It's a little interesting, right? You would think that I would want someone else, but here's the thing. Chris Pratt right now used to be, obviously, he wasn't the best in shape. He used to be in a show, which I forget. What was
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. Wasn't, he had, obviously, but now he's way more in shape overall, but he's still got the big frame. And I think for me, center, you think all the time that center is a big guy, that you want the big, that looks overall, it's kind of got that presence, but I want someone that's physical in there. I believe Chris Pratt probably will be in that category for me, and so give me Chris Pratt on my team. What do you think, Kruck? I got Mark Wahlberg, Cameron Diaz, and Chris Pratt. I don't know. I don't know about my list, man. I don't know about you, but
I still need a shooting guard, and I'm trying to think if I want to take him or not.
Let's see. What do you think?
Because I don't think he's that tall, but height's not really a big deal for me. So, give me Michael B. Jordan. His name sounds like Michael Jordan, who's the greatest shooting guard of all time.
Damn.
So, Michael B. Jordan, maybe. I don't know.
No, he's athletic as well. Obviously, you know him from probably the Creed movies and others, and he's just
the Black Panther
movies. So that's a very good pick. Oh my, that's.
So you got your point guard and your small forward left.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough for me. All right, let's see. Wow, like I said, you think I'd come prepared with my list, but now it's like changing as I go on the fly here. I picked this one before. I put this on my list. Now, shooting forward, usually you want your shooting forward, a guy that can shoot the ball, can make a lot of plays with it. I'm going to pick Anthony Mackie as mine. Anthony Mackie as this one. Anthony Mackie, listen, he isn't the best overall athlete kind of guy, but I believe someone that can make something happen. And he used to be the Falcon, right? So he can fly around, make plays. Shooting forward, you want them to fly around and help the offense out. Probably wasn't the best pick, but hey, I picked Anthony Mackie as mine for my shooting forward.
For my center, I'm going to go with a man who was just in the newest Top Gun. He was in the Footloose remake. He was in the Fantastic Four remake. His name is Miles Teller. And he is a tall, lengthy guy who's not afraid to get down and dirty. He is, in my opinion, a steal in the 5th round right now. Like, he is good. Without a doubt is he good.
Yeah, that's, like I said, that's pretty good pick there, Kruck.
And then you got the last of the starting 5, and then we're going to give 1 6th man. You get to pick 1 6th man, who can be any position.
Gotcha, okay. All right, 4-point guard. Let's see. Problem is, Mark Wahlberg would have been an interesting good pick for my point guard. Now thinking about it. Now if I pick this guy, I don't know about this, but I had an idea about Tom Holland. He's small, and he's probably not going to be the best with Adam Sandler and Michael B. Jordan, but I feel like he'll find a way to make some moves and pass it off to Chris Pratt. So give me Tom Holland. And now looking at my list, you'd think, oh my gosh, did you pick almost all the Marvel guys? Technically, yes, I almost did. Chris Pratt, you got Anthony Mackie, and you got Tom Holland. I feel like my team is probably not the best skill set wise overall, but I feel like they would still play hard overall. And I think that's going to be important. I think with Chris Pratt, Mark Wahlberg, and Tom Holland, they're all going to be, hey, he's got spider sense, right? He's got spider sense, and he can move around. He can see threats that are around the area and make buckets, Kruck. So give me Tom Holland now, point guard.
Well, I was going to pick between one of 2 Toms, and since you took one of the Toms, I'll just take the other Tom. The other main actor from Top Gun, Tom Cruise. I mean, he believes in Scientology, so he's got that extra stuff going on in him. I mean, he's not a intimidating guy, but anytime he takes his shirt off, he is just straight muscle. He's fast. Yeah. When he gets hurt, he keeps going. When he gets hurt on set, they don't even stop filming. He just keeps going. I mean, the guy is unstoppable. He is the prototypical backup point guard. He, in my opinion, it would be just as good as Gary Payton in this game. He would be the glove. You couldn't dribble without him stealing it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. I thought about that. I don't know about this, but a 6th man I had on my lineup, Hugh Jackman. Interesting, huh? Hugh Jackman, if you don't know, used to play as the Wolverine character. He also played a lot of the movies, The Great Showman as well. I think Hugh Jackman, listen, to me, when I watched Wolverine, right, I thought he was an intimidating guy. And I always feel like when you have someone that's like a 6th man or someone that you want to have in your roster, you want to have them as something that's a threat for your team. And I always thought that. And I thought Hugh Jackman fits the mold perfectly. And so that would round out my team for Team Max there, Craig.
Absolutely. And then just to run the teams by you guys one more time. For Max, his point guard is Tom Holland. Shooting guard is Marky Mark. Small forward, Anthony Mackie. Power forward is Cameron Diaz. His center is Chris Pratt. And coming off the bench is Hugh Jackman. For Kruck's lineup, my own, point guard is Adam Sandler. Shooting guard is Michael B. Jordan. Small forward, Chris Helmsworth. Power forward, Melissa McCarthy. My center is Miles Teller. And coming off the bench is Tom Cruise. Let us know in the comments down below, unless you're listening to it on a podcast. Then feel free to tell your friends. Have the same conversation with them. These are fun games that we do on our own crew, and you guys can take them out into the real world and ask people yourself. I mean, why not? It's fun. Instead of doing all 5, probably just do 3 or 2. You know, most people don't have time to sit down and think about all 5. Yeah. But until next time, this is Jacob Kruckenberg and Mad Max. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in once again, and make sure to have a happy Thanksgiving. And do not, please do not make sweet potato pie. It is disgusting. Nobody likes it. It is pumpkin pie or pecan pie. That's it.
Yeah. Preach to that. Pumpkin pie is where it's at, bro. For sure.
All right, we're going to let y'all go. Everybody, I hope you have a happy day, night, evening, morning, whenever you're listening to it. Until next time, Jake Krugenberg, Mad Max, signing out. Take it easy.